Welcome to Switch Comics. My name is Marco, and today I'm going to be showing you every slab I picked up in 2022. On my wall here, those are all the comics from the year before. There were others. I got more, so I got 18 up there. So there technically were some. Granted, I sold some this year and stuff like that. So, which I'm not a big seller, but I had to fund a big comic, so I ended up selling off a bunch of comics in order to get that one. Yeah, so without further ado, here is my stack. There's a box, and then if you want to see the full thing, I posted a picture on Instagram. Yeah, I got a lot of slabs to go through, 64 in total. Yeah, so there's got a lot to go through. But first, let's go ahead and I want to give you a reminder. I am doing a giveaway. So I'm, not really doing a giveaway. I'm contributing to others' giveaways, really. So if you haven't checked out my video, I put out a video on Friday. So you have a chance to win a Iron Man 282, a Crossover 3, one per store, the McFarlane variant, and also an Ultimate Fallout 4 second print. Yeah, and actually, well, to be fair, so this book technically is part of the year before books, and these two are actually my first two to show off from this year. But those I'm giving away. We have some community members hitting that big 1K milestone, so I decided to go ahead and give those away. There's a lot of details about it, so I recommend go check out the other video if you're interested in winning those. There's a lot of other slabs to win as well. Though that's just what I'm contributing to several people's giveaways. But there's a lot of other slabs and books and stuff. So definitely check out that video if you want a chance to win a lot of really, really cool books. I'm going to be trying to win some of those books too. There's some cool books there. All right. So starting off here, and I have it kind of in sections. Some of the stuff, not everything goes into a category. But starting off with my first category here, which is going to be my Thor versus books. So this is Iron Man, 66, and I got it at a 9.2. Didn't spend too much on this one, it's a pretty cheap one. This is one category that I kind of wanted to get into and then got distracted. So this is one that I would like to do a better job of getting more books and filling out that collection. So this is, just a cool cover with Iron Man versus Thor. So, again, not really anything special or significant, but just one that I personally found pretty cool. And then I also have, this is Thor 411. And this is, I believe this is a key. So it's the first appearance of the New Warriors, that's right. But I got it because it's a cool Juggernaut versus Thor cover. And I got it at a 9.6 with the Thor label. I bought this one off Pickin' and Punching. He did a CDC unboxing and was selling the books that he got in that. And this is, like I said, I was wanting to do some Thor versus stuff. But I really only got into some of the cheap books. There are some more expensive ones like Thor Annual 1, it's first Hercules, but it's a cool battle cover of them. Silver Surfer 4 is an iconic, Surfer versus Thor. There's a cool one where Magneto's lifting Mjolnir. I can't remember what book that is, but it's an awesome cover. So I definitely want to get more into that, but like I said, just kind of got distracted on that particular run. Moving on, we have all new Ghost... No, I'm sorry, this is not all new. This is Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, number 1. I picked up this one at a 9.6. It is a 1 per store and just a super, super sick cover. And it's a hard book to find. Like, there's certain books that you go on eBay and you just don't have a lot of variety when you're buying them. When I bought this one, there was really just a handful of them up for sale. Since then, there's been a lot more hype around Robbie Reyes. So, I think there's quite a bit more, but still not a lot. If in comparison to look up a bunch of other books, there's not going to be so many of this one. So I bought that one early in the year at a 9.6, and then very recently got this one as a gift from Terrence at a 9.8. So I don't mind having a couple of the same book. Chris's kind of like well, I'll get to it later, but Chris was like, "Oh, well, you could just do the other one and giveaway or whatever." And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of just like having it. It's a super cool book. Like I said, it's a hard book to find. One per stores are not, super abundant. And I think it's a super, super sick cover. As far as spec value, which I'm not much of a specker anymore, but I do think with that one having, being pretty rare and just being such a sweet, sweet looking book, that if if there's more Robbie Reyes hype and we get him in a movie or something, I think that book could potentially shoot up some. So moving on to another. I was gonna say it's not quite a gift. I did end up having to spend money on this one. This one just has a super interesting story. So this is Captain America 405. It is a 9.6. I don't think it's the first appearance. Yeah, because it's just a Man and Wolf Part 2. So I don't know if it's the first appearance of Wolverine. Or no, sorry, Wolverine. It says Wolverine appearance on the label, that's what. But anyway, first appearance of Captain America as a werewolf. Probably happened in the issue before, but it's just a super, super sweet cover. And for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, I had a few people that donated some stuff, and this was one of the books. And I said during it, I was like, man, this is the one that kind of hurts to give away because it's really, really cool. I really like it. It's a very fun cover. I'm not a big Captain America guy, but Captain America Werewolf is corny in all the right ways. And anyway, so this ended up going, someone local won it, and he's not a slab guy, so he kept it for a little bit, and then on one very, very big week for the pull list, he was like, are you interested in buying this one? And I was like, yes, I would like to have this. So it went from Super Baby to Logan and then back to me. Well, I guess Super Baby to me to Logan back to me. So pretty fun story on that one. And then this one is one I bought raw from my shop. It is Thor #1. The, well, not really first appearance of Jane Foster Thor, but it's the one people act like it is. But it's this awesome, beautiful, gorgeous Dodderman cover. One of my favorites. I do really want to get the 1 in 50, I think is what it is. It's the Assad Ribic cover. And I there's certain artists that I absolutely love for certain characters. And Ribic is so great with Thor. I think both of those are Ribic, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I know that one is. Anywho, super awesome book. I bought it raw, sent it, got it graded, came back at 9.8. Pretty happy. That book's dropped tremendously, but I'm so happy to have it. Another one I got graded myself. Now this is one. So there's a lot of stuff that came back from CGC and CBCS this year that were sent at various early stages of me getting into comics. So keep in mind, my first slab was at this point now 2 Christmases ago, and I kind of just started getting into comics a little bit before that. So, and then I got into wanting to get stuff graded at the worst possible time when everyone was getting stuff graded, and so there's a lot of big delays between sending stuff and getting stuff back for some of these. So this is one that isn't really worth anything. It is the first appearance of Blackheart. Super rad cover. But it's only an 8.5. What is it? Daredevil? I forgot. Daredevil 270. It's a super cool book. I like it. But, it's one of those things that's like looking back at it now, I definitely shouldn't have sent this particular copy in to get graded. Probably could have bought it cheaper. Just off eBay or something. But, you live and you learn. And again, That's basically my first year. Again, I sold some stuff. That's basically my first year of comics, which there's some cool stuff up there, don't get me wrong. But, and this is really my second year of comics. And there's a big change up. And I'm showing you smaller stuff up front. Gotta build the suspense up. It's, the good stuff is at the bottom, you know what I mean? So, moving on to another one I sent in. This is Daredevil #10. This is the first cover appearance and second appearance of Echo, and got a 9.8 on that one. I was pretty happy about that one. I wasn't expecting a 9.8 on this one because, what are they called? this cover is one of those that like folds out, and to me, like the fold out part just looked, because it gets like a little, I don't know, not super clean looking, but I mean even looking at it now, like it does look pretty solid. So I don't know, maybe I was just more. Sometimes you get worried about certain books, and sometimes you over exaggerate or under exaggerate, but you know, I mean, it is a pretty clean copy. It came back in 9.8, and I love this cover. It's a David Mack cover. I actually, um, not this past October, but the October from the year before, sent in. I had another copy of Daredevil 10, but also Daredevil 9, her actual first appearance, and they were both signed by David Mack, and those are still at CBCS. So hopefully, eventually, I will see those again, because I don't have a lot of David Mack's work, but I'm a big fan of his stuff, and I think he wrote this as well. Yeah, he wrote and did the cover. He didn't do the interior art, but he did the cover, and it's a gorgeous cover. I'm not a huge fan of number 9, the cover on that one. Like it's okay, it's good, but like this is to me infinitely better, infinitely cooler. So moving on to, I got a lot of Riri stuff this year. So starting off here, we have Invincible Iron Man number 3. This is, it doesn't say anything on the label. I want to say this is when she first actually wears the Ironheart armor, I think. And I got a 9.4 on this one. This one was a little disappointing. Was hoping, on all the books I sent in, I was hoping, or all these, I was hoping to at least get 9.6s. So only getting a 9.4 was a little sad on that one. But then I sent in a ton of number 1s, and I love this cover. This is my favorite Riri cover. So I got a 9.6 here, and just to show that cover off, I think it is absolutely gorgeous. Super, super cool book. I still think I have one of these at CBCS with that David Mack stuff. So here's another one, but a 9.8. And then another one at a 9.8. So I was dead set on getting a 9.8 on that, so I sent a bunch in. And again, this book has fallen off a lot when I sent that stuff in. It was not crazy expensive, but you know, I picked up the books for cheap too. I only paid like $5 to $10, I think, on most copies of them. And then this one's a little funny because this is technically my second one I got this year. So earlier this year, this is Invincible Iron Man number 9, first full appearance of Riri Williams. Super cool cover on that. Oh no, actually no, it wasn't my second this year. I got one last year. That's what it was. I got one last year, and I sold it because that's when it was very, very high. I think I sold it for $8.50 because I bought it raw for like $100. Got it graded, came back at 9.8. I sold it for $8.50, and then I don't know if you can see it, but I used that money, or some of that money at least anyway, to buy an NYX number 3, first appearance of X-23. So this year I got it back. So, and then this is one that I also bought raw and got graded and came back at 9.8. So I've sent 2 of these now to get graded, and both came back 9.8s. This is one. I'm not that big of a guy that like cares about grades. You know, obviously when you're sending in anything, you want the highest grade you can get. But to me, this is like the most perfect raw book I've ever seen. And I was like, if I ever sent in any book to get a 9.9, this would be it. And it didn't get it. But it's just, it is so super crisp. Just amazing. It's immaculate. Like, so there's a slight part of me hoping to get a 9.9, and that would have been insane. Never had a 9.9. I would like to eventually get one, but at the same time, I'm not really sending in books to get graded anymore. Granted, I still have 2 at CGC that's been waiting for forever, and 12 at CBCS that have been waiting forever. I don't think any of those, from my memory, have any kind of shot at that. Moving on to another one I bought raw and sent to get graded. This is one that I probably was going to try to sell, and it took way too long to get graded and missed the show by a long shot. So we have Hawkeye number 1. This is the David Aja run. And who else is it? David Aha and Fraction, Matt Fraction, yeah. This is the 1 in 25 variant, though. Um, so it's the Granov variant, which I am a big fan of Granov. I don't really have much of his stuff, but he's a really, really awesome artist. But yeah, I mean, this book was kind of going for some, pretty decent money. I think it was going for like $500 or so. Before the Hawkeye series and everything, but it came back way after the series was over. So yeah, lost out on that potential because I think I spent like $30 on the book, and I was like, yeah, this is a really clean copy. Hoping for the 9.8. Eventually it did come back to the 9.8, but way too late. And so now it's just in my collection. It doesn't say anything on the label, but it is the first appearance of Lucky the Pizza Dog, and I think also the Tracksuit Mafia, if I remember correctly. Moving on to another Kate Bishop book, we have Young Avengers Presents number 6. Um, it doesn't say anything on the label. It doesn't. This is a weird one. It just says Hawkeye. It doesn't say Hawkeye appearance or anything. It just says Hawkeye. Anyway, it came back at 9.8. I got this one though because it is maybe my favorite Kate Bishop cover. It is absolutely gorgeous. I think it has so much energy, and it's just a super super cool book. Got Will Smith on the back, but yeah, no, just super awesome cover. Really really like that one. And like I said, it might have some kind of key value to it. I can't remember off the top of my head. This one's a little bit more recent. I was hoping for a 9.6 on this one, so this one was a little bit of a bummer. I mean, I was hoping, like, also kind of hoping, like, maybe it could get a 9.8, and it sucks because CGC just doesn't give you graders notes for what feels like pretty much anything. But so I have no idea what's wrong with it. It looks good to me. This is Deadpool number 1. I don't think this was a ratio. I got the 9.4 on it. But it has Jeff the Landshark and Elsa Bloodstone, two characters I love very, very much, on a super fun cover, copper tone homage. Now, granted, it's Marvel, so you can only do so much, but it would have been a little bit more fun if it was, had a little bit of booty crack sticking out to really homage how it was. It's very obviously censored here. I can only imagine it probably was originally drawn like that. But still a very fun cover and a really great read. This is only a 10-issue series for whatever reason. It was absolutely amazing. It's kind of dubbed King Deadpool, despite never actually officially being called King Deadpool. It's where he becomes king of Monster Island. And it's super, super fun. Has Jeff Landshark, Elsa Bloodstone, Deadpool's King of Monster Island. The monsters are super fun. Really great story. A lot of fun. I highly recommend it. The trade, I think, is coming out pretty soon. I think sometime in January, I think. Now this is one that stung a little bit. So, this is the one that made me start, which again, I really kind of fell off sending in books to get graded. But this is the one after this. Well, this batch in particular, some other ones in here too, where the whole batch came back way lower than what I was expecting. And this book I bought again. There's sometimes I buy a book and I'm like, this book is perfect. It's immaculate. It should get a 9.8. Very least, a 9.6. And I was thinking this one too. Actually, I bought this book. So let me show you what it is real quick. It is Hulk. What is it? I forget the number. 449, and it is first appearance of the Thunderbolts. And I bought this book before the movie was announced, but I did buy it. I spent a little bit more than I wanted to, but I bought it specifically because I was like, this is an immaculate copy. It is gorgeous, definitely a 9.8 candidate, and came back an 8.5. And then looking at it, there's a lot of color rub on the back. There's a lot of things wrong with it. Some soft corners and stuff. And this was the first time, because I don't like to be an excuses person. And I feel like there's a lot of people that will just instantly be like, well, that's not the book that I sent in or whatever. And, sometimes I've got lower grades than what I was expecting. I'm like, that sucks, But this is the first time I was like, I don't think that's the book that I sent in. Or they really roughed it up. One or the other, because I very specifically bought this one because of how amazing it looked. And getting that 8.5. I think this was the first book I pulled out of I always have my stuff taped up. And it's kind of funny in retrospect to go back to that video. And I'm so excited. I'm like, this should be a 9.8. And I pull up the tape, and I'm just baffled. So, yeah, I don't know. At this point, I was excited because the book was going for like $800 or something if it was a 9.8. And I was like, oh, sweet, good spec. I did good on this one. I'm gonna make some money. And I would have just used that to buy some other book. But yeah, end up losing pretty big on that one. Another book, this one I bought graded. It's just an awesome cover. We have She-Hulk 34. This is a John Byrne Vanity Fair homage. And my personal favorite She-Hulk cover, I went ahead and picked it up at a 9.6. I think I spent like $125 or something, so it was a fairly inexpensive book. And just one of my favorite covers. I love this book so much. Absolutely amazing. And John Byrne's got a lot of good She-Hulk covers, and a lot of good covers in general. But yeah, he's got a lot of good She-Hulk covers, but that is my personal favorite one. And then this is one I sent in knowing it wasn't going to get a super great grade. There's nothing you can really do to these books because it's like that embossed foil. This is War Machine #1, and I didn't really buy it for any spec reasons. I just think it is a super sick cover. Got a 9.2 on it, but yeah, you can't press this book or do anything. So I just bought it. I spent like $5 on it or whatever. Thought it was a pretty decent looking copy, and got it graded because I just think it's a super cool looking book. And then to go with that, the reason that my other 282 is in the giveaway is because I recently picked up a 9.6 copy. So this is, again, one of my favorite covers as well. And I got this one off of an Instagram page. I've been the later half of the year, or maybe not even half, maybe later quarter of the year, I've been really addicted to Instagram consignment pages. I have a couple in particular that I've really been buying quite a few things from, including this next book. So this is one that earlier in the year was just crazy expensive. I think this maybe was like a $800 to $1,000 book, and I spent $170 on this copy. And it is a Bloodstone #1 at a 9.6, first appearance of Elsa Bloodstone. Very, very, very cool book. I love Elsa Bloodstone. This is one that I've been looking to get for a long time, not just because she's in Werewolf by Night or anything like that. I just really like Elsa Bloodstone, like I mentioned her earlier. And it's genuinely a hard book to find. It's a weird, obscure book from 2001. So, it's 20 years old, or over 20 years old at this point. I mean, it's decently old, and it's weird, obscure. It doesn't even really... It looks more like an indie book than a Marvel book. It's such a strange little thing, but I love it. I've really wanted it. And technically, this is my second one I bought. I paid more for a raw copy probably last year, I think. And then I sent it off, and that is still... Yeah, because I sent it off in... not last year, but in 2021, I sent it off to get graded, and still waiting on that one. And that copy was not as good. 100%, I was expecting like an 8 or so on that copy. And they got a 9.6 for cheaper. Now, it's mostly been random, couple little pairings here and there, but now we are moving into my Black Cat collection, which I started fairly late into this year. Again, I am still waiting on several books from CBCS, and one of them is first appearance of Black Cat, Spider-Man 194. Expecting like maybe a 7 on that one. And so, yeah, that one really hurts, because especially you'll see all these Black Cat books, and not having 194 hurts me. But, so we have Spider-Man 606 here, which is a pretty iconic J. Scott Campbell cover. Got a 9.4. I bought this one graded. I was at a con, and I bought it for maybe $100, something like that. I didn't spend too much on it. I like this cover, but in my opinion, it is not as good. I don't know how to stack these. I don't know how tall to keep going. Let me move these. the giveaway books. I'll move these right here, and then we'll go ahead and start a second stack, because I'll definitely be getting to a third stack. But okay, so not as good as J. Scott Campbell's 607, which I really, really love. I bought this one graded. We got a bonus for something at work. I don't remember. Might have been, I don't remember. But anyway, that bonus money went straight into getting this 607 that we just recently got. And yeah, I absolutely love this cover. It's super, super cool. Really, really like it. Moving on to a newer, probably the newest Black Cat book I've picked up, which is Black Cat number 9. This is from 2021, so this is like 3 Black Cat series ago or something like that, counting Iron Cat. But it is the Sabine Rich Virgin variant. It is gorgeous. It is a 9.8, and I bought this one graded. Again, I don't think this is much too. Maybe just like $100 or something. It wasn't anything crazy. But Sabine Rich is an artist I am looking to add more work from in the next year. I think she just put out a few new exclusive variants on Unknown Comics. Maybe, I can't remember. I looked at it the other day, and some really, really cool stuff coming up. And then we have an absolutely gorgeous cover. Jiyoung Lee. This is for Giant Size Black Cat and annual, or what is this? It's just Giant Size Black Cat Infinity Score 1. Okay, I couldn't remember what it was. I couldn't remember if it was an... No, this was like the conclusion to that Black Cat stuff with the Infinity Score. That's what it was. So I got a 9.8. Or, again, I bought this one graded. This was just a regular cover. And just absolutely gorgeous. There is 1 in 100, I think, that's the Virgin variant. And honestly, I wouldn't mind the regular trade dress. The only thing that really kills me is this big barcode. I think distracts from it. It's such a gorgeous piece of art to have that big barcode. I don't mind the trade dress. You know, it's in the background. It's fine. Not distracting, but that barcode sure is. But I spent like $50 on this copy, where the 1 in 100 is probably going to be like 200 or something like that. But it's hard for me to decide. There's so many good ones, but this might be my favorite Black Cat art. It is gorgeous. And then moving on to... This is 2019 Black Cat number 1. So yeah, this is also, I think, that same run of a few series back. Peach Momoko's Black Cat number 1. And bought this one graded at a 9.8. And again, there's a Virgin variant on this one, but there's no barcode. And, you know, just that, and the you know, it doesn't bother me. So I can't remember how much I spent on this one, but it wasn't too much. And absolutely gorgeous Momoko piece there. And then we have, again, I really like that one. I really like the Jiyoung Lee, but man, check out this Art Germ. This was for Spider-Man, wasn't it? This was for Amazing Spider-Man 1. This is I think the new Spider-Man run that released earlier this year. And let me get these glares off. So many reflective things now. I'm still learning. You know, I got this new setup in progress. I'm still learning all the angles, but it can be a little hard. I need to cover up. So what you see, well, let's see. That's my computer screen, but like right there is my computer that is white. So I think if I cover that up somehow, it won't be as reflective. But anyway, absolutely gorgeous. The regular cover that released was split down the middle. Half it was Black Cat, half it was Mary Jane, and then he released the full covers for both of them as a set. But anyway, I did buy this one raw and get it graded. It took me a little while to find somebody just to sell the raw one, but I'm sorry for my voice kind of going out. I did a live stream. This is recorded after we did a little New Year's Lego building thing, and so I was on there talking for a few hours. And then now I'm doing this, so my throat's a little dry. But anyway, so bought that one, and it's like a thicker cardstock book, so I was pretty confident about that one getting a 9.8. And that is the end of my Black Cat stuff. Moving on to the Star Wars stuff. I bought this one graded. We have Dr. Aphra. Nope, I'm sorry. Darth Vader, Number 3, first appearance of Dr. Aphra and her droids at a 9.6. And I bought this one like right before Book of Boba Fett. I remember because Book of Boba Fett introduced Black Chrysanthemum, which shows up in issue 1 of this series, I think. So that got a lot of people thinking maybe Aphra was going to show up. There was that chick that was on the little Vespa speeder thing, and people were like, maybe she's supposed to be Aphra. So that caused this book to spike up. I think it's leveled back out to where it was now. But I mean, still, very cool book and one I wanted to get. There's not a ton of Star Wars keys that I'm hugely interested in, but that was one. I mean, I do think we could definitely be seeing, especially now that, and I think that, has helped, keep and maybe even gained a little bit of value on this book. Just because it's like, well, if we did get Black Chrysanthemum, then, Aphra's definitely possible. This is one that I bought raw and got graded. This was a 4-part series, and I bought the whole series off eBay and got just the issue 1 graded. So this is Star Wars Jango Fett Open Seasons 1. And it doesn't say it on the label. Well, first of all, really cool cover with, oh crap, I can't remember his name. That's Montrose. That's Montrose. Or is it Jastermiro? I forget which one's which. I'm confused. Anyway, this is the first appearance. Well, actually, I think both of them, Jastermiro and Montrose, which trained Jango Fett. But then also first appearance of Count Dooku, which not really much of a spec book because I don't think Count Dooku's gonna be doing anything. We did get Tales of the Jedi, but I don't think that, I didn't even check, but I don't think it did anything to the value of that book. Just a cool book to have. Kind of a lot of interesting things going on there. Like I said, first Count Dooku, we get Jester Morrill, Montrose, early Jango Fett, stuff like that. So really, really cool book. And then this is another book off of that bad CBCS shipment where all my stuff came in way lower. Now this is the only one that I don't blame on them. This is a thick cardstock book. It is Heir to the Empire 1. And it had a couple of spine ticks on it. And so I talked to my cleaner presser and said, what do you think? Do you think you can press this book well without causing any troubles? If you can't, totally fine. I get it. But he was very confident that he could. And it came back in 8.5. And I was kind of hoping for maybe like a 9.4 on this book. And the good thing about CBCS, you scan the barcode, you get grader's notes. But the whole book has pebbling, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's basically where the texture of the like parchment paper that you used on the heat press, that texture gets like imprinted into the book. You can't really tell unless you get like a magnifying glass out, or you can actually feel it sometimes too, because we had another book that had pebbling on it, and once you cracked it out of the slab, you could feel it. But yeah, so that was pretty disappointing, and I don't think there's really anything that can be done to restore this book. This is, by the way, first appearance of Thrawn, which is going to be a big deal pretty soon in the... probably first going to show up in Ahsoka, if I had to guess. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not. Also, for first appearance of Mara Jade, which is Luke's wife in the comics. I kind of don't think we'll get her. Yeah, so this was a little sad one. I mean, it's, sad to see a book get damaged. Especially, pretty cool one. Some more recent Instagram purchases. We have Star Wars Legacy 18, and doesn't say it on the label. This is the first appearance of the first Darth Weirlock. I don't know how to say his name, but I mainly got it. It was super cheap, and it is just a super sweet cover with Darth Talon and Darth Nil. I don't know if I'm saying his name right either. It's one of those things, those Star Wars characters, you don't really know if you're pronouncing their name right until a movie or show comes out. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how it's actually said. But I got that one at the same time as, well, I actually got a little bundle deal. I also picked up Star Wars Legacy #1 third print, which is a 9.6 and is a super cool book. Again, just amazing cover. Has Darth Talon, Darth Crate, and Darth... no, God, I forgot his name for a second. I just said it a minute ago. But anyway, gorgeous, gorgeous cover. The first print has like a really dark gray background, and I feel like kind of muddies this whole image. And with the white, which is on the second print and the third print as well, with the white background, really makes these characters pop, and they're just full focus of this cover, which I absolutely love. And then also a little fun bonus fact: I do think this is the most expensive printing because it has a very low print run. It only has like, I think, just barely over 2,000 copies printed, which is extremely low of a print run. So I mean, that's a pretty hard book to find, and I got it at 9.6. And it is first appearance of... It's not Talon, I don't think. And it's not a first cover either. But it is first appearance of Cade Skywalker, Darth Crate, Darth Nil, Darth Maladi. And it's not on the label here, but it is the first appearance of the third Darth Weirlock, which is strange, because this is #1, and the third Darth Weirlock shows up in here, but you don't see the first Darth Weirlock until issue number 18. So, kind of funny how that works. But moving on to some older Star Wars stuff, we have Star Wars 42, which I bought raw and got graded, came back in 8.5. This is the first appearance of Boba Fett, and it does have a stain right there next to Bossk's head. Which definitely knocked it down, at least a point. But I mean, all things considering, I was kind of expecting a lower grade. I think this was my first book I ever sent in that had a stain, and I was like, they're probably going to hit that one kind of hard. I'm really tempted because this book has come down a lot, as a lot of books have. But I'm kind of tempted to get a 9.6. I think it's just like maybe about $500 or so right now, which is way cheaper than what it used to be. And then another book I bought raw. Now this one I think I technically bought raw in 2021, but it came back in 2022, and it is Star Wars #1, and it's at a 9.0. And this book has always been like a criminally undervalued book in my opinion. I mean, this book isn't as old as, some of your, first, Spider-Man and Daredevil and Thor and Iron Man and all that stuff. But I mean, it's 77. It's your oldest Star Wars book. Super iconic cover. One of my favorite books in my collection. And I just think, like even at this 9.0, I think it is maybe like $300 or something. And it's just crazy to me, I understand Star Wars has had a lot of ups and downs here recently as far as like what people have thought about the movies and shows and stuff. But I mean, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan forever. So to me, that's like, I mean, that's one of the coolest books I can get. You know what I mean? Obviously, the only thing better than that would be the what is it, 35-cent variant, right? Yeah, because this is a 30-cent. There's a 35-cent variant that is extremely rare, but I don't really care too much about that. Got a little bit of new Spider stuff. So we have Spider-Gwen #24. This is a book I bought raw. No, actually, no. This was gifted to me. It was gifted to me from my boss. And got it graded. Came back a 9.8, which is a pretty hard book to get a 9.8. Got a full black cover here. And not full black, but pretty dark back cover as well. And this is the first appearance of Gwynnum. So Gwyn with the symbiote. And it's a sick cover, too. Like, it is very, very rad. Who did that one? Robbie Rodriguez. Yeah. So I mean, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I like that one a lot. And yeah, you just paid for grading costs and got a sweet, sweet book. And then up next, this is one that I bought from our shop. We have Edge of Spider-Verse 2, and I picked it up at a 9.6. And this is the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. So, got those together there. Nice little pairing. And pretty cool book. One that I picked that up, and then as soon as I picked that up, I'm like, I gotta get a First Miles to go with it. So I got an Ultimate Fallout 4, sent it to get graded, was hoping for like a 9, maybe as high as a 9.4. But this was part of that bad batch to CBCS, and it came back a 7.5. So that one hit me pretty hard. Pretty hard. But again, I mean, what am I going to do at this point? I still have another book I wouldn't mind upgrading the grade on. Just because, again, that book's come down quite a bit as well. And it's a pretty awesome book, you know. We are done with the stack that's on top of the box. Now we're going into the box. So we are getting near the end here. At least probably about maybe 2/3 of the way there. So, and for the most part, the rest of this stuff is older books now. We're getting into, you know, bronze and silver stuff. So we have Doctor Strange #1. This is one I bought raw. I can't remember from who now. Someone sold it to me. Came back a 6.0. I think I was hoping for 7 though, so that was a little bit less than what I was hoping for, but still a really cool book. And then I think I sent this one relatively, you know, Doctor Strange hype was still high before the movie came out and everything. And it's a sweet cover. It is a sweet, sweet cover. And this is the first Doctor Strange #1. You know, because he went from Strange Tales and then it changes over into Doctor Strange. But this is the first Doctor Strange issue 1. So that's a pretty cool book. Great cover on that one. And then follow up with another Doctor Strange book. We have, well, no, actually, a Strange Tales book. We have Strange Tales 158. And this is the first appearance of the Living Tribunal, which is one I was hoping to get. But also, see that silver Sharpie down there? Signed by Steranko at a 5.0. So I was looking at this book, and then this one popped up. I think I got this on eBay. And I was like, well, might as well. It was a pretty good price. And I was like, yeah, might as well get one. I think I maybe sent them an offer. I can't remember now. And yeah, so one book that I was really wanting to get. I think, you know, it's only inevitable that we'll get Living Tribunal popping up. He's been teased several times already in the movies. I think he's a super cool character. This is an amazing cover. And I got a Steranko signature. Let's see. And then, like I said, Strange Tales eventually switches over to Doctor Strange, and that happens on issue 169. Again, another gorgeous cover, and I got this one after the Doctor Strange movie when things kind of died down a bit, because I got the Doctor Strange one when I was like, I can't really afford this book right now, or don't want to spend that much money, you know, and I went ahead and bought that one at a 5, and I think this was my first Instagram purchase. Like I said, the kind of last part of the year there, I really started getting into buying stuff on Instagram, and I'm heavily addicted right now. But yeah, so I got that one. I think it was my first one, and I got it for a pretty good price. I was pretty happy with it, and it's a sweet one. I kind of want to build more main books of like the more iconic Avengers. So I mean, I have that one. I'm not going to get his first appearance. That book is very, very expensive, and also, and it doesn't, you know, it doesn't represent Strange as much as this one does. Like, that is full, you know, just Doctor Strange on display, super awesome cover. Anybody can look at the wall and know what that book is and who it's about and everything. And his first appearance, you know, has like Human Torch flying on the side and whatever, and not as exciting for me. So now we're going to move into a few X-Men books. We have Uncanny X-Men 142, and this is the second part of Days of Future Past, and I think I paid like $50, $40, something like that for this book. It's at 8.0, so not super great grade, but I just love the cover, and I'm not a big X-Men person. Like, I really like X-Men, but I'm not really interested in collecting a ton of their keys. There are a few I would really like to pick up. And by the way, I'm gonna be hopefully sometime next week coming out with a video with like goals that I have for next year and books that I'm looking to pick up and stuff like that. And I do have a couple of X-Men books that I want to put on that list. But for the most part, there's not a ton of X-Men books that I really want to grab. But that one, like I said, it was cheap enough, and I got it in a little bundle deal. That being said, I got a couple more X-Men books to show you. So this is one I bought raw and got graded. And this is one I was hoping for a little bit more. I think I was hoping for a 6, if I remember correctly. This is X-Men 60, the first appearance of Sauron. Absolutely gorgeous Neil Adams cover. Like I said, I was hoping for a 6, but only got a 4.5. But yeah, super, super rad cover. If I can get the dang glare. So much glare on these books. But anyway, yeah, I think that's just such a cool cover. I love Sauron. Really interesting villain that I think they should use a little bit more. And then, so this is technically not an X-Men book, but it is an X-Men book. We have Miss Marvel number 18, and this is the first appearance of first full appearance of Mystique, and got it at a 9.2. Bought this one graded. Again, probably bought this one bought it raw. Sorry, no. Bought it raw, got it graded, but I probably bought it raw in 2021 and then got it back in 2022. This is a pretty decent book. And I think, Mystique, Mystique has a high chance. Obviously, when they bring the X-Men back into the MCU and start using, I think they're going to use some new characters, but then there's some like you have to use, and I think Mystique is just so cool, such a good character that you gotta use Mystique. So, pretty cool book to have. And then the last X-Men book I have here is X-Men number 12. This is one that came by the shop. It was already graded, and it is a 5.5. And it came at a funny time because I just happened to be thinning out my Funko Pop collection, and then we got this book in, and all that money went straight into getting this. And I do really like the Juggernaut. I think he's a super cool villain. That's the thing. Like, now that I think about it, pretty much all the X-Men books that I want are all, for the most part, like 90%, I'd say, are cool villains. I'm not super big into wanting a lot of the heroes. There's some that I wouldn't mind having. Like, the big one would be, like, giant size. I'd really like a giant size, But for the most part, yeah, the villain stuff is much more interesting to me. Which is funny. That's most of the time, I think a lot of people will tell you invest into the heroes. The villain books don't do as well. But I'm like, those are cooler books to me. And then this is a book I bought raw. Another one I wouldn't mind getting an upgrade on. No, wait. Did I buy that? No, I bought it raw. And then I got graded. It came back. It's not a great copy. It presents decently though, for a 2.0. And I'm a big Iron Man fan. And I've been, I'm not trying to really spoil my my video. Like I said, I got coming out. I'm going to talk about books that I want to pick up. But I've talked about this plenty already. The big goal for me next year is to pick up Tales of Suspense 39, first appearance of Iron Man. That being said, I've been tempted to pick up a higher grade of this book because it's come down a lot, as pretty much everything has. But yeah, I've been heavily tempted. But regardless, even if I don't, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of books where I've been like, ooh, I can get that. That's a better grade. And then it's just like, I'll just get something else. I got the book. You know what I mean? I don't really care that much about the grade. I do care about the presentation, and I do think this one has quite a bit of room. I think the colors are a little, not as great as they could be. Definitely like those whites could be a lot brighter and stuff. So I think that one could use a grade bump to really help the presentation. But moving on, we got a Moon Knight section now. So starting off here with Moon Knight number 1. This is the Warren Ellis run. I think this is maybe the first appearance of Mr. Knight, if I recall correctly. We bought this one raw and got it graded, and it came back a 9.6. Pretty cool cover on that one. Let's see, and then we have, I always forget, is this 29? Yeah, Moon Knight 29. This is one I was hoping for a bit of a higher grade. This is a hard one to get a good grade. Let's see. Well, the background's all white, which it isn't very, is white and black. It's not super easy to do. But check out this pretty much all black cover. It's so black that, look at all those reflections. You can see my camera, you can see my computer, you can see everything. Came back in 8.0. I mean, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. If I can get, God, if I can get the reflections off of it. It's super, super cool book. But yeah, came back in 8.0, so I was a little disappointed in that one, but also like not really surprised by it. I was like, okay. And then this book actually, we bought it raw, and it technically predates me getting into comics. So, and again, I've only been in a couple years now. But my brother's a huge Moon Knight fan, so he picked up a issue 1 of Moon Knight. Awesome, awesome cover. And it came back at a 9.0, which, pretty happy with. Again, this book has come down. It probably could get, a much higher grade for a pretty reasonable price. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I'm sure you can get a much better grade for next to nothing now. And this one has a cool story. So this is Marvel Spotlight 28. And it used to have a huge, huge grease pen mark. It was just like all the way, like all over the cover, where people, back in the day when they would move books into like their, now it'd be dollar bins. Back then it was probably whatever, nickel bins or whatever. And they would just take a, big grease pen and mark on it. And as you can see though, it is gone. So my cleaner and presser did an amazing job getting that off. And it came back a 7.0, which, he was a little disappointed with the grade. He was hoping to do a little bit better, get like an 8. Obviously I would have liked that. But again, big thing for me is presentation. And the fact that you cannot tell at all that grease pen is there is huge. Again, when we bought that was when Moon Knight stuff was through the roof. And so I bought that copy because it was really affordable. At the time I was like, I was telling Chris, I was like, if you want this book, like, this is probably going to be the copy that, we can get. And so he was like, yeah. And then, I told my cleaner presser, I was like, do what you can, I understand. And he came through on that one. And then last Moon Knight book we picked up was Werewolf by Night 32. Got this one in a trade. And it's pretty rough. Came back at 2.0. And again, when this came back at 2.0, this was still like $1,000 book. Now it's like, I mean, I haven't looked at it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like maybe $200-$300. So this is a book I have considered maybe bumping the grade on. But I mean, regardless, I think this one presents pretty well for a 2.0. It's very, like, like right there, it's got all those folds and stuff, and like all the corners are really soft and whatever. But I mean, overall, like, especially take it a little farther away, it presents pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with that one. If we bump it, we bump it. If not, it will. Another one in that same trade. Now this one is a lot rougher. Someone like was cutting something and had this as like a placemat. We have Marvel Spotlight 5. And despite it looking a lot rougher, came back at 2.0 as well. It's a nice little pair there. So yeah, first appearance of Ghost Rider here. A book that I really, really wanted to get. And this was kind of at the tail end of books still being crazy. And this is like right before they kind of started dropping off. But there was a lot of rumors about Ghost Rider popping up maybe in Doctor Strange, or could be anything else. He could be announced in a solo thing. This is, before we knew what movies were coming out in Phase 5 or whatever we're in now, And yeah, I definitely want to pick up this book. And again, another book that I'm like, maybe I could get a grade bump on. Who knows? But I mean, even if not, really cool. I had to have a first Ghost Rider. It's one that I really, really wanted. And then this year I also decided to start picking up Silver Surfer books. So this is one I picked up off Instagram. One that I really, really wanted. Silver Surfer number 3. First appearance of Mephisto. And it is a 3.0. You know, lower grade, but I didn't spend too much on it. And I think it presents really well. The colors, I think, are amazing. I think they're super, super strong. The whites could probably be a little bit better, but they're not bad. There is like a mark right there on the R, but it's not too noticeable. But yeah, I'm just happy to have it. It is one that I think is super, super cool. Still need to get Surfer 4, which I think I mentioned earlier with the Versus stuff, the Thor Versus stuff, but then also Surfer 1. Those are 2 books that I really, really want to get to build onto my Surfer collection. But also, the guy that I did that trade for the Marvel Spotlight and the Werewolf by Night, I ended up buying some stuff, and some of that was Fantastic Four number 50, super rad super rad Silver Surfer cover. Bought it raw, got it graded, came back at 3, so was pretty happy on that. I kind of was hoping for a 3.5 on that, but you know, it is what it is, and you know, not that far off. But also picked up a Fantastic Four 50. I'm sorry, no, that was 50. This is 49. First appearance of Galactus. This one is missing some stuff out of the inside, and it came back 8.5. But I mean, as far as things go, I mean, that's a pretty solid looking 0.5. The spine, I mean, is very, very rough. You got a little chunk missing out the top. And when I bought this, you know, I knew the condition issues with it. I knew it was extremely low grade, and I just bought this so that I could have a copy. Again, since then, this book has come down a lot. So I've thought about, I don't want anything crazy, but I was like, you know, maybe get like a 3.5. And again, you'll see here in a second why that 3.5 keeps coming up. And that is because earlier this year, I bought this one graded, Fantastic Four 48, and it is a 3.5. So it would be kind of nice to have those all matching at a 3.5. There is somebody, I've been looking at one for a 49 that has a 3.5 for sale on Instagram. So I've been pretty tempted on that one. I keep going back and looking at it, but anyway, I absolutely love this cover. I think it is just gorgeous, amazing book, and very happy to add this to my collection. First appearance of the Silver Surfer, first cameo of Galactus. I don't know if I mentioned this was first Galactus. Also, pretty iconic cover, really good cover, but to me this one beats it all day, all day, very easy. And then moving on now. So this is maybe my only modern book here. So I set out with the goal, again, probably maybe midway through the year, to collect the Netflix Defenders, all their first appearances. So the easy one to start off with was Alias 1. First appearance of Jessica Jones, and I went ahead and just bought that at 9.6. It was like maybe 100, 125, something like that. I can't remember. Again, awesome David Mack art. Really sweet cover. But you know, with her being the only modern one, definitely the cheapest one to get into. I also bought a Marvel Premiere 15, first Iron Fist. Bought this one raw, got it graded. This one hurt me a little bit too. I was kind of hoping for like a 7. Came back a 5.0. One I've definitely considered grade bumping. I think I've looked at like a 9.0 and a 9.2, something like that. That were like, yeah, that's pretty affordable. And I've always held the opinion that Iron Fist is kind of a sleeper book. You know, I know pretty much nobody cared for the Netflix series, but I think that kind of lowered, you know, his values and stuff. But I think Iron Fist is a super cool character. I've always really liked Iron Fist, and especially like with the success of Shang-Chi, and like they did it right, and like super awesome action. In my opinion, the best action in all the MCU. Really love that movie. It's like, just, you can do that with Iron Fist too. You know what I mean? Especially if they meet up and fight, that would be so sick. I'd be so excited if that happened. But I think we could get a resurgence, a revitalization of Iron Fist, and could maybe, you know, see a good increase on that book. We're getting to the end here. We are nearly done, y'all, and getting into some big books here too. So then I bought this one raw. This one came with that Fantastic Four 49 and 50. And this is Hero for Hire #1. First appearance of Luke Cage. And it came back a 4.5. I was kind of hoping for a 5 on this one, so, just barely off. Not that big of a deal. Again, another one I could probably pick up higher grade for not too much on. And then this was a big surprise for me for this year. Was not expecting, not aiming for this book at all. But again, just popped up on the Instagram page. And this one I held off for a little while. I waited a week and nobody else was claiming on it. And I made an offer and I got a Daredevil #1. And as you can see, it is not the most beautiful copy. It is a 1.0. My only book with tape on it, but I own a Daredevil 1. Not everybody can say they own a Daredevil 1, you know what I mean? So my goal was to collect the first appearance of the Netflix Defenders. But that being in mind, this book, even with that goal, I was not aiming for this book. Because I knew this book was very expensive. And I was like, I'll just get a Daredevil 8, which is first appearance of Stiltman, second appearance of the Red Suit. And I really love that cover. If Daredevil 7, the first appearance of the Red Suit, was a better cover, it's like him and Namor punching each other or something. I don't really like that cover. Maybe I could have substituted that one, but I was like, I'm going to get a substitute. I'm not going to get a Daredevil #1. That book's just too expensive. It's going crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's complete. The cover is completely just holding on there by tape, but it's there, and I mean, it presents well enough. It's the worst part of it is it's tilted, and got that big part of the interior showing and part of the spine. You can't see it, so that kind of sucks. But I mean, other than that, the colors are really great. Obviously the whites could be whiter and stuff like that, but I mean, it presents pretty dang well. And I think I picked it up for a pretty awesome price. And with that being said, it's funny because I was actually aiming for Spider-Man 129, first appearance of Punisher. But again, I also put a replacement on him. So I actually picked up Punisher 218, first appearance of Punisher in the War Machine armor. I think first full appearance, I think. Or maybe first cameo, I can't remember now. Maybe 219 is the first full appearance. But I picked up the TV show variant. And I picked it up at a 9.6. Extremely hard book to find. If you try to go on eBay and find some of these, they're, again, very limited options. But again, big black front cover, a lot of black on the back cover. So to get it at a 9.6, pretty dang high grade. I think I said the last modern book, but I guess this is the last modern book here. This was my replacement for Spider-Man 129. But I kept looking, and for me, I kind of wanted a 4.0, somewhere around there is what I was looking at, but it was frustrating because there was very, and I wouldn't mind, honestly, a 2.0 or a 3.0 if the price was right, but really, from 1.0 to 5.0, there was just basically no difference in price. They were all the same. I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense to me. So I just kept window shopping, kept looking around, and finally, I ended up spending a little bit more than I wanted to. My goal was to kind of roughly spend $1,000, $1,100, something like that. But when one popped up again on Instagram with a Stan Lee signature, and not the greatest Stan Lee signature, I'll admit. It's kind of a big blob and it's right on top of Spider-Man's chest. But it's my very first Stan Lee signature on a 129, and it's a 5.5, so a little bit better grade than I was really aiming for. I decided to pull the trigger, and I've been wanting a Stan Lee signature, and I wanted it on a good book. I didn't want it on, people got him to sign all kinds of dollar books and trash and whatever, and, this isn't the craziest book. It's not him signing an Avengers 1 or, something crazy that would be very, very difficult to purchase. This was a stretch to purchase, it was an expensive book, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot more expensive books and older books and stuff like that. This one, this is what, 74. So I think this is a very good first book to get a Stan Lee signature on. Yeah, and again, yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy. I really wasn't expecting it all to get like the Daredevil one, but I wasn't even necessarily expecting to get the 129 before the end of the year. I was kind of just watching and seeing what the prices were doing. Again, I really like to. My new method is I really like to study books prices before, if there's especially a big book. If I'm really looking to buy it, I I try to put a lot of um, just watching the prices, seeing what they're doing, um, seeing different breaks and in price at the different grades and stuff like that. But that's one that I'm was very happy. Both that one, like I said, that one getting it signed by or having it, a signed copy by Stan Lee and having the Daredevil one were two really awesome end of the year surprises for myself. And then the big book that I picked up early in the year, and funnily enough, I made a video in January of last year, and it was like books I want to pick up in 2022, and I put this book on the list. Oh, no, actually, no. I'm sorry. I did make a video like that, but then I made a book early in January, whereas like as well, and it was something to the sort of like big grails that I would love to have, but are just way too expensive. I don't remember what I titled it, but that's the concept. And this book was on that list, and had no idea that I'd be getting it, but I got A Journey into Mystery 83, first appearance of Thor, and this is my number 2 book of all time. And got the custom label on there at a 1.8, and I don't know if you can see it. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, that comes out real clear. White pages, which I didn't know you could get a 1.8 with white pages, but apparently it is possible. So yeah, the only book that really beats this for me is going to be Tales of Suspense 39, first appearance of Iron Man. I love Thor and I love Iron Man, but for me, Iron Man beats it out. I've been a young Iron Man fan, I think, since the animated show came out when I was a kid. That I don't entirely even remember the show, but I remember playing with those action figures a lot. And I remember stepping on those little metal ones too. I don't know if you remember that they were only like, maybe 2 inches tall, and they really hurt when you step on. But anyway, so that's my big book for the year. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, and I've mentioned in a bajillion other videos, I did sell off a lot of comics in order to afford this book. Definitely the most expensive book I've ever bought, and don't really expect to spend that much, at least for a little bit, because again, I am trying to save up for Tales of Suspense 39. That is my big goal for next year. I really want to make that happen. I'd love to make that happen at, at latest by my birthday, which is in May. That is kind of the goal that I've set for myself. Some things may change, because the thing is there's a lot of books that I want, and there's always going to be a lot of books that I want, and sometimes you don't necessarily, in my opinion, you don't head focus, be like, this is going to be the next thing 100%, because you just never know how the prices are going to go. Especially a book like that, it's going to be hard to find. And so, and I'll just let you know, I'm looking for like anywhere from like a 1 to a 2, which is right now currently like $5,000 to $7,000. And so let's say I save up that money, I'm feeling comfortable to spend that much, but then I get there and I start looking at the market, and it might not even be the market. Sometimes the market still, that might be like what it's selling for, but then, there's not a lot of copies for sale, and in that specific grade and all that. And so let's say I get there, the market is still like the same price, but the only copy for sale is like $8,000. Or let's say I saved up $7,000 to spend, and that's like my upper threshold to get like a 2, but somebody wants $7,000 for a 1. It's like, I'm not gonna push that far. Now, granted, if by then the market has just risen that high, that's a different topic and whatever. What I'm saying, like, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. But yeah, I there's other books I really want to look for. Again, I've talked about this one as well. So again, there's other things I don't want to spoil them in my other video. It's going to be coming out. But the other pretty big one, not as big, but pretty big one that I'm going to be trying to get is Avengers #1. To me, it's like the quintessential Marvel book that just could highlight any collection. You know what I mean? It is just a super super rad book that I think everyone should have. I know a lot of people can't afford that book, but it's just it would fit into any collection. As you know, as long as you collect Marvel. If you're only DC, obviously it wouldn't work. But anybody that collects Marvel, like that would be an amazing book, and it's one that I really 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 want. Because like again, not everybody's interested in having a first appearance of Thor or a first appearance of Iron Man. Me personally, I'm not really crazy about first appearance of Spider-Man. Would I like to have it? Sure, but it's so much money, and I'm just not that big of a Spider-Man fan. Um, like I like him, but he's just not. To me, he's not Iron Man. He's not Thor. You know, I'd rather have a first Hulk probably over Spider-Man, and that's again that book to me is still too expensive. It's like yeah, I don't feel like saving up that much money for Hulk. You know what I mean? Again, I do want to get like because again, like I'd love to have like Avengers 1 and then a lot of like Avengers key books. So like first Iron Man, first Thor, but like for Hulk, I'd probably just settle and get like a Hulk annual one instead. Um, that Doctor Strange 169, just a bunch of books like that to represent a bunch of Avengers. I think will be really cool. Um, but so keep out or keep a lookout. I don't know exactly when I'm going to be putting out that other video. Definitely, like I said, go check out that giveaway video if you're interested in winning a bunch of slabs. There's a ton being given away right now. A lot of community members hitting that 1,000 subscriber goal, and then one also getting pretty close. But yeah, that is that's all my slabs from 2022, and it's been a great year. It's been an absolutely amazing year. Like I said, this is really my second year of collecting comics, and it's been amazing. It's been way better than I could have ever predicted, and I'm shooting big for next year too. Like there's a lot of really big stuff I'd like to get into. I should also have some couple new slabs coming in the mail, hopefully sometime next week. I'll get to show off couple Momoko covers that I'm pretty excited to finally have. Other than that, still working in my room. Got screwed over. UPS decided not to ship a bunch of my shelves, so they delivered. I ordered 5 shelves. They sent me one. They all of them were on the truck. At least that's what it says. They shipped them all. They took one shelf off the truck and said, "Screw it for the rest. We're taking these back to Amazon." I guess they were too heavy, and they didn't feel like doing it. So I had to reorder those shelves. Hopefully they'll actually deliver them this time. And yeah, still got a bunch of work to do here. Couch is gonna get removed and all that, and whatever. I'm gonna add some comics on the wall here too. It's gonna be super cool. But yeah, I'm super excited for 2023 to see everything that I'm going to pick up. I'd love to know in the comments, shoot me. It doesn't have to be a full list of everything you picked up. Be a lot to type out, but if you want to shoot me a comment with some of the better things, some of the more exciting things that you picked up, and like I said, it doesn't have to necessarily be super expensive books. Obviously, I am excited to get those, but like one of my favorite books here was that Bloodstone #1 that I paid $170 for. Not a crazy expensive book, but one that I really, really love. I'm so happy to finally have. There's certain things, those Star Wars books, I paid, those 2 Legacy books, I paid $200 for the pair. They're nothing crazy expensive, but I think they're really cool books. The 2 Momoko books I have coming next week aren't super expensive either. You just have to be excited about it. There's a lot of things. And I think I'm going to make a video on that at some point too. I don't exactly know the approach I want to go with it, but again, talking about how like I would love to have a first appearance of Hulk, but to me it's not worth it to invest that amount of money. I'm not that interested in it. For a good while, first appearance of Black Panther, I was like, I'm not that interested at the price that it was at. Since then, it's dropped a lot, and now I've become more interested. I'm like, okay, at that price, I am interested, because I did have interest, but the monetary value puts it at a upper threshold of interest to make it balance out to be worth it. Because I mean, if I took any book here, so I mean, yeah, like for example, like I said, super excited to finally have a Bloodstone at a really nice grade. A year ago I never would have thought I had a 9 or would have had a 9.6. But again, I got it because it was $170. If it was posted and the going price was $600, I wouldn't have got it. I'd have interest in it, but just not that high of interest. And so, and there's other factors too. Like obviously, like no way I'd ever get a book as old as First Thor for $600. But so that, to me, there's characters that I love, and there's history, and obviously the history of Thor is much richer than the history of Elsa Bloodstone, and so there's these different factors that all build up into it. Again, I might make a video if people are interested. I just have to collect my thoughts a bit more on that one. I feel like it's a kind of complicated subject to talk about. But anyway, that's it. This is my first video 2023, showing off everything I got in 2022. So a good way to kick off the year. I hope y'all are having a good one and are excited for 2023. I'm trying to be, and I try not to be too optimistic, but I'm trying to change things around in my room, change my mindset up a little bit, work on doing things to improve my life and make things as exciting as possible. And yeah. I think I've rambled enough for now. This has obviously been a very long video, and I appreciate you. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you so much for watching the video. Again, I am super excited to talk about any books that you picked up this year that you are excited about, or actually books that you are trying to get in the new year. Again, I'll be making another video about books that I'm trying to pick up in 2023. But if you want to talk about it in this video, go ahead. Feel free to. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.